Hello and welcome to the Jet Report on a sunny and unseasonably warm Tuesday in October the 25th of 2022. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, and yeah, it's a hot one out there. I went out before. It's over 70 degrees on Long Island in late October. Come on now. I want some football weather, man. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt right now with the windows open doing this live stream. Also, want to give a quick shout out to Smack Apparel for the fire shirt. I switch camera angles. I'll show it to you. Party. I want to party like it's 1968. Check them out on Twitter. They have awesome stuff. Thanks again to Smack Apparel for sending the shirt. We have a lot to get into today, as obviously we saw Joe Douglas make a little trade. James Robinson, a New York Jet, little things you love to see. Obviously, don't want to see Breece Hall done for the year, but if he is, trading a sixth that could turn into a fifth round pick for James Robinson is something that you just absolutely love to see. Let's talk about, though, two players. One, Laramie Tunsil. Two, Jack Conklin. Two guys who could potentially be on the trade block for the New York Jets, according to Adam Schefter. Now, of the two, I believe that Conklin is probably a little bit more obtainable due to his contract. And I'll pull that up for you right now. We'll share the screen. We'll do a little screen share action. Jack Conklin. So let's do this. There we go. That'll bump you around. Has a void year for 2023 and 2024. So he's on an expiring deal. And if he was to be traded, it would save the Browns $8 million in cap space, just $3 million of dead money. He's 28 years old. Like I said, he's a free agent after this year. But at 28, he's someone who you could potentially re-sign. And he was an almost Jet. Do we forget that Jack Conklin, everyone and their grandmother thought Jack Conklin was coming to the Jets? What was it, 2-3 years ago already? And I mean, this guy's pretty solid. We'll pull up some of the numbers. Just been steady right tackle for pretty much the entirety of his career. So far in 2022, 1 penalty, no sacks allowed, 5 pressures, 5 hurries. Has not allowed a quarterback hit since 2020. Obviously, did not play a ton of snaps in 2021, missed some time, but this is a guy who's just extremely, extremely reliable. One of the better right tackles in football, still in the prime of his career. And it's pretty obvious the New York Jets, they need some assistance at the tackle spot, especially after losing Elijah Vera Tucker. And with where the Jets are in their rebuild process, I don't really care about draft picks right now, especially late round ones, when you could be improving your team not only now, but for your future, because that's what James Robinson is. If we want to talk about that briefly, we'll do that, and then we'll go back into the numbers for Tunsil. Even though, like I said, I think Conklin's probably the more likely of the two if they were to be acquired. But with James Robinson, Joe Douglas traded for a guy who, one, is only 24 years old, and number two, is a restricted free agent at the end of the year. So the Jets hold his rights and could either sign him on the relative cheap, or they could designate a tag on him, and if he signs elsewhere, they get draft pick compensation back. Genius stuff. Love it. I absolutely love that. And for Tunsil, a little bit of a different category because he has another year on his deal, and it ain't too cheap. His cap hit for 2023, because he restructured this year, is $35.2 million. That's not what the Jets would be on the hook for. But if he was to be traded post June 1st, it would save just $1 million for the Houston Texans. But next year, it would save them $18.5 million. So the team acquiring him would have him under contract for his age 29 season. Obviously, he's someone who's a very good player. There's no denying that the Tunsil is a legit. He played left tackle pretty much the entirety of his career. I was looking to see if he had any right tackle snaps. He does. He has 5 in his career. He played a little bit of left guard as a rookie back in 2016. If you remember his draft stock took a big crumble due to a video that was released on him on draft night. But this is a very, very good offensive lineman, has been for a really long time. Obviously, Houston gave up a ton for him in a trade, but gave him a ton of money, which is maybe you blame Bill O'Brien for that, but nonetheless, this is a very, very good left tackle who is still in the prime of his career. So a couple different options there for the New York Jets on the trade market. Like I said, I would think of the two, Conklin seems probably more likely. And I think that Joe Douglas is going to absolutely be active as things continue to roll on, as the deadline inches closer. It's not quite here yet. It's about a week out now at this point, and love it. So let's transition. We'll get into your comments. We got Green Bean hanging out. Green Bean, what's up, brother? Love you. I'll see you later. He says 2 p.m. O'Leary today is a good day. And he said, I would love to nab Conklin or Tunsil, but not at the risk of losing top second round pick. Not for me. Yeah, I don't think for Conklin, obviously, the price might be a little bit different than a Tunsil, but I don't want to give up a first or a second round pick. That is fair to say. I would think that it would likely cost something a little bit later, and if it does, I would seriously consider it. But I am worried about AVT Green Bean, and I'm losing AVT. I'm sure you are too, and we'll get into that later. If you guys don't know, we're streaming later on Jets Talk 24/7 for the Talking Jets panel at 8 p.m., 8 to 10 p.m. Kentrell Miles wants Laramie Tunsil. He's doing the Laramie Tunsil in the praying hands. J-Boy, what's going on, man? He says, must win this week. Yeah, that's what tomorrow's episode is really going to be about of Just Jets. New episode tomorrow. We have some new imaging, by the way. Maybe I'll pull that up for you. Might as well do that as we talk. But I am a big believer in this being a must-win game for the New York Jets as we pull up the new logo for Just Jets. New intro drops tomorrow, too, by the way. I love it. But yeah, Bill Belichick ran up the score on them last year. They hung 54 points. Injured the Jets quarterback. Zach Wilson got hurt in that game. They are reeling right now. Jets haven't beaten them since week 16, 2015. They are 0 for their last 10. It's time. It is absolutely time. Oh, okay. Says Jets need to blitz the F out of the Pats. LFG Jets. Yeah, I mean, both of their quarterbacks. What a disaster that was yesterday. And that's something else we'll get into on the pod tomorrow. But if you guys want to talk about it on the stream today in the questions, we can get into that as well. But neither Mac Jones nor Bailey Zappi look good. So long for the Bailey Zappi, man. What happened? That for the first half and for weeks, it was, oh my God, it's a repeat of Tom Brady, man. That's what happened. Mac Jones, first round pick, the guy who thinks the future gets hurt. Late round pick comes in, gonna save the franchise for 20 years. Awful. Yeah, last night. Couple of picks, a lost fumble. Mac Jones stunk up the joint too. Jets have to beat the Patriots on Sunday. Gotta beat them. Get to 6-2. Keep the train rolling, baby. And Justin Fields had a good day against that defense. It's possible. He proved that it's okay. A young quarterback can beat them. It's a home game. Gotta love it. Ryan Garcia is hanging out with us. He said, I felt despondent about Brees and AVT. And then James Robinson news came and felt like I could breathe again. Now hearing about the possibility of Tunsil or Conklin trade, LFG. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yesterday was a tough day. And, there were a lot of people who were trying to keep the faith and be positive and saying, oh, you got to be positive through this, Matt. But yesterday, Jet fans deserve to vent. They need to vent their frustrations. The frustrations were valid. You lost your two best offensive players on the same day in the midst of a win streak. And the first time the Jets are 5-2 in a very long time and have a very real chance for a playoff spot. As crazy as that might have sounded before the season started, now how things have shaken out, the Jets have themselves in a good spot to position themselves before their bye week and before they have some games against Chicago, against Detroit, against Jacksonville at home. They could start stacking some wins here. And yes, losing Brees and AVT really stinks. I'm very happy with the quick action from Joe Douglas to get in James Robinson. And I would like to see them do more for the offensive line. I think it's okay. King Blaze says, hopefully we get someone worth it and can stay healthy. Yeah, it's really how crazy is it? The number of freaking injuries on this New York Jets offensive line, specifically the tackle spot, right? Let's run through. Mekhi Becton, done for the year. George Fant landed himself on IR. Those were supposed to be your two tackles. Dwayne Brown, you sign off the scrap heap, right? The guy, 37 years old. Guess what? He goes on IR. Thankfully, he's back. Max Mitchell has to start. You're thinking, oh, God, this was someone who, probably wanted to sit for a little bit. Guess what? He's hurt. Now he goes on IR. And now you have AVT, who was drafted to play left guard, who moved to right guard and then got moved to left tackle and then right tackle. And then he gets hurt. It's crazy. Crazy town. They have a ton of injuries right now on that line, and they are still playing pretty good football. So hopefully that continues and hope that they continue to add to it. Anthony S wants to know, could you see us trading a player for some draft capital? Maybe Bryce Hall, potentially, maybe a Bryce Hall or Denzel Mims in a trade for either a pick or an offensive line player. I think that could be wise. Obviously, it's dependent on what happens here with Elijah. My assumption is that Elijah is going to come back and be a part of this team. I'm frustrated with him, but I like how Robert Saleh handled that situation. I was critical of Saleh earlier in the year with how he handled the injuries and just with some of his comments to the media, but I think they did a really good job of handling this Elijah situation. I didn't think he should be active last week based on everything that he said, but now, hopefully it's something that they could put behind him. And if this culture really is changing, that should not be something that derails your season or derails a relationship. You should be able to move on from it and get this thing back on track because they need him. And I'd like to see him get things going. John's hanging out. He says, "Hey, fellers." Oh, okay. Well, says Joe D, GM of the year, baby. Love it. Philip Levy hanging out says, if I am the Jets, I come out flying on defense and throwing on offense. Show everyone Zach can do it. I think he can do it, man. A lot of people are out on Zach Wilson right now. They're hating on him. Look, he wasn't very good against Denver. As I talked about on the video yesterday, no quarterback outside of Geno freaking Smith back in week 1 has looked good against that defense. They haven't allowed a passing touchdown since week 3. It's pretty wild, man. Yeah, good point here from Green Bean talking about the Jets and the Patriots from last year. Zach got hurt on some dirty, dirty stuff too. We need to make the Pats bleed. Look, I'm not rooting for the Jets to go out there and injure anybody. I don't believe in that. I think that's bad. One, I think it's just not right. I think it's Bush League. Number 2, I think that's bad karma. But they just have to come out and be physical and show that, you got pushed around last year. It's time to bounce back. And with how this Jets defensive line has been playing in recent weeks and how they've been playing smash mouth football on the offensive line and running the ball, it would be really nice to see the Jets come out and win this one. And like we were saying in the chat, man, run up that freaking score. I don't give a damn if it's, they're up by 20 points. If the Jets are up 20 points, there's 2 minutes left. You get the ball back on the 20-yard line and you can knee it down. No, get in the end zone, make it a 27-point lead. F them. F Bill Belichick, F their 2 quarterbacks. Don't love it. The Sesh says, have you seen the new helmets? Yeah, I am very excited to see the debut of the all-black uniforms. Woody Johnson tweeted it out in case you missed it. They are wearing the all-black uniforms. They are not going with the white on black. And for the superstitious folk, I apologize because that's going to bother some people, but this has been in the plans for a very long time to wear these jerseys for on this day, and they're not going to change it up. Woody says it's finally time. This weekend, the alternate black helmet makes its debut. I think it looks really clean, and I think it's going to look clean under the sun. A 1:00 game, all black, really cool. Not everyone's a JD fan today. He says JD is a bum. Should have seen these injuries coming, and now he wants to patch them up. Should have had all our backups on the roster by week 1. If the Jets make the playoffs, he needs to be paid again. Oh, that was a little sarcasm on me. That's my bad. Sorry, I only read the beginning. It's hard to do this live and also screen the comments at the same time. Green Bean gets in. We're going to hear the next Tom Brady thing for the next 20 years, just like the Finns do with Dan Marino. Yup, it feels that way. I love this one from John. He says, have Michael Clemens accidentally run over Belichick a la Drew Bledsoe and knock him out of football. Oh, man. Oh, God. Yeah, the new helmets. Sesh likes them. I like them, too. I think they look cool. And, look, I wanted the throwbacks. I wanted the logo that's behind me. I think that's what most fans wanted, the 80s look. And I was a little disappointed in that. But I could admit, the black helmets with these black uniforms look awesome. I love it. Chris says it was quite a kick to the groin all day yesterday. True, but loving JD right now, keeping the fire lit in the organization, finding the ways to stay relevant this year. Feels that way. It definitely does. Christopher Sullivan asked, does a trade possibly involve Becton? Not while he's hurt. I think that's very unlikely, and nor do I think his value is very high right now. I'd be surprised if they move him, even in the offseason. I think he's on the roster next year, but not as a starter. Pats lost keys to the D last night. Zach has no reason not to ball out. It's got to come, man. We got to see him turn this thing around. It's a tough matchup, but it's time. We got a super chat. Thank you so much to Johnny P. He's hanging out with us. Excuse me. He says, we have never faced the Pats in this situation. Coming off of a big loss, no clarity at quarterback, no real weapons, and pretty beat up. I think we rally. I do too. I think the Jets can win this game. I really do. I think they should win this game. It's crazy. Going into that game on Monday night, I thought they were going to destroy the Bears. Bears offense, they've been one of their worst offensive teams in football. But Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi didn't look very good at all. It's wild actually how poor they looked. They had 3 interceptions and 1 fumble loss between the two of them, 4 turnovers. Now, I don't know if the Jets are going to create 4 turnovers. They've done a really good job of creating turnovers, but I'm strangely confident. I think the Jets defensive line could get home, and also the secondary with Sauce and DJ Reed. I think they'll hold up just enough. If they could stop the run, which I think the Jets have shown that they could do, they did a nice job in Denver, then I think they're going to be in this game. It's up to Zach Wilson and the offense to keep the train rolling. I think they do it. And let's rally around this team back at home. Let's not have the boo birds out. They're on a 4-game freaking win streak, for Christ's sake. Oh, okay, says James Robinson rushes for 2 touchdowns. Sign me up for that. I'm a huge James Robinson fan. I don't quite understand why the Jaguars started to go away from him so heavily and feature Travis Etienne so much. I think their offense has actually struggled since they've done that. So Robbie is in for a huge offensive day from Zach Wilson and the Jets. Says Zach Wilson, 400 yards and 4 touchdowns coming into the game against the Pats, along with 1 touchdown from Carter and J-Rob. Defense will light it up. Whoever is behind center, LFG, FTP. Yeah, hype me up for that, man. I am amped up. Jets Forever's in the chat. Preach it, man. He says 63-0 Jets over Patriots. I don't know if I'm going to go that high, but can we get a 27-10 win? Maybe a 33-13 win, something like that. I'm in, man. Philip Levy says Jets top special teams unit, according to PFF. They have been fantastic. Brant Boyer is incredible at his job. Got to give him a ton of credit. J-Boy says Zach's time to shine. I can feel it. That would be so nice, man, because he's gotten a ton of heat over our last couple of weeks. And look, he didn't play well against Denver, and he really didn't play well against Green Bay. I thought he had a really nice fourth quarter against the Steelers, drove him back, won the game in the fourth quarter for them. And against the Dolphins, I thought he was fine. I thought he was it fantastic? No, but he was inches away from 2 touchdown passes. Breece Hall goes down on the 1-yard line twice. I think it's going to be fine. And I don't want to see a 4 turnover game like we saw his first go around. I don't want to see a scene ghost game. Unfortunately, the Jets Pats games at MetLife have been pretty ugly in recent history. It is time. It's more than enough time to say they got to get this thing going. Jason Ratcliffe says, like the new helmets, but really one of the old 80s style winged Jets logo back from when I was a kid and first became a Jet fan in the early 80s. Yeah, I love that logo, clearly, as it's on a sign behind me. I think that would have been freaking epic if they brought that back. Johnny P says Belichick clearly does not trust Mac Jones at all. No, he pulled him after 6 passes. Now he ended up getting back in the game, and it was ugly, but let's do that. Let's pull up the box score from this Bears-Pats game, because, man, was that ugly offensively from the New England Patriots. I'm just going to minimize your comments so we can look at this full box score. Max Jones went 3 of 6 for 13 yards, 2.2 average, 0 touchdowns, a pick, 30 QBR, 16.7 rating. Bailey Zappi comes in, 14 to 22, 1 passing touchdown, then threw 2 picks, and also lost a fumble. Stevenson didn't really have a great game, only 3.5 yards per attempt. All right, yeah. yards per attempt. Damian Harris 2.7. This Jets defense, I think, could hang with the Patriots. They looked very beatable last night, and you're 100% right. It does not look like the Patriots trust either quarterback right now. I think it'll be Mac Jones, but we'll see. Joe has the 80s logo tattooed on his arm. Wow, now that's dedication. Kenneth says if the Bears could drop 33 on them, I think we should be able to do 50. That'd be nice. I would sign me up for that. How about even 54 for what they did last week? John Finnegan, I hate those clam chowder eating fans. I sat through the embarrassment at Gillette Stadium last year. Oh God, I am very sorry to hear that. That was a tough one, obviously, and I hope the Jets get their revenge on Sunday. It's long overdue. It's time. Christopher says, "I love when you get heated, Matt." Yeah, I mean, come on, we gotta get pumped up. We gotta get lively. Who wants to watch somebody just sit monotone and talk about this team? I'm passionate about it, man. I love it. If I need to get heated negatively, I'll do it. If I need to get excited, I'll do it. Thank you, Christopher. I really appreciate it. Christopher Lynch says, "Do you think they need to change the playoff format where the division winners are at home? Feels weird that the 6-1 Giants would have to play a road game." No, I think they should keep it as it is. I think winning the division is important. And if it sucks. You know what? I don't even like the 7th wild card team, to be honest with you. I thought their last playoff format was absolutely perfect. 1 through 6, the first and second seed get the bye. 3 plays the 6, 4 plays the 5. You have a great divisional round. I don't like the changes that they made. And I don't think, and credit to the Giants. They're having a great season at 6-1. And yeah, the Eagles are probably going to run away with that division. And I think the Cowboys are still very much involved for a playoff spot. You gotta win on the road. Kenya says, ready for the Jets to humiliate the Pats. Let's go. It's time. It's long overdue. Edward Stewart says, Matt going to take a beating if that D keeps it going. 100%. Cream says, about to bet Jets plus 1.5. How much should I put on it? I don't know what your unit size normally is, but do a couple units. Maybe two. A unit is like your standard bet. So I'm saying double it. Starscream says Tunsil cap hit is too high next year. No, it's very high. Its cap hit for the Texans would be 35 million, which is nuts. I don't believe that would be what it would be if he was traded. I think it would be 18.5 if he was traded and the Jets acquired him. I don't think it would be the full 35. Matthew says, I wouldn't fight O'Leary after Sunday. I love it. Thank you, Matthew. John Finnegan says, I came on here with my preseason hot take being we sweep the NFC North. It's crazy that if that plays out, we'll be I can't even read. It's crazy that if that plays out now, we will be playing late January football. Not wrong. They beat the Packers, which I thought preseason would be the hardest game. Chicago, Detroit are both winnable games. Minnesota looks really good right now, but I'm really not sold on the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is going to Kirk Cousins eventually. Are we getting Tunsil? I don't think that's likely. Wow, Alex T says Jets going to be 7-2 at the bye. I'm calling it. That would be great if they were to win their next 2 games. I think beating the Buffalo Bills is a very, very, very difficult task. But if they do it, man, then this team has a chance to be really, really special. Elijah Moore gets a comeback game and gets 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. I hope so. I would love for that to happen. Look, am I upset with how he handled it? 100%. Do I think that, they can make up and get back on track here a little bit? Yes. Yep. Paul S., who's our last game before the bye? Is it the Bills? Yes, it is. Very tough matchup. It's at home, which makes me feel a little bit better about it, but To me, Buffalo is the best team in the league. I know right now the Eagles are undefeated. They're having a great season, but from top to bottom, I think Buffalo is the best team in the league. Joe says, I placed 200 on the Jets last week and won, but not sure if I would touch the Jets. Pats game, divisional game can go either way. That's fair. Wow. Jacob Finnegan says, I had the Vikings coming out of the NFC. Very high on that. Very high on them. Another 80s logo tattoo. This time, J Boy says, I had the 80s tattoo logo tattooed on my leg. Very cool. Ooh. Jets sweep the Pats and split with the Bills. Sign me the F up for that. Matt O'Leary should be the next right tackle replacement. He's got the height and the smarts. I don't have the weight, man. 6'4", 225. Maybe a big possession receiver who's not very fast. I would say that's probably my best role. Bird Dodger says defense takes the Jets as far as they go. They're playing unbelievable right now. They really are. Let's pull up the numbers. I believe that it was just tweeted out. Give me a second. That's from Zach Rosenblatt tweeted this. Here we go. Jets team rankings after 7 games. Football Outsiders, which is DVOA, overall 12th, offense 21st, defense 10th, special teams 3rd, PFF overall 15th, offense 32nd. Interesting. Defense 2nd. Oh God. Special teams 1st. Wow. That's not the one that I was looking for. I think it was Costello had it actually. If I could find it. There's a cause. Silly. Maybe he blocked me. Highly possible. There we go. He didn't block me. Yeah. Jets total defense 10, run 11, pass 13, scoring 10. That's a vast improvement. That's a really big improvement than what they were working with. TJ Decker says, so Matt is essentially Mike Evans. I'll take it. Sign me up for that. What do you think would be a successful game for Zach Wilson stat-wise? Let's go. Eight. I'll say 18 to 28 for 220 yards, something like that. This is the same thing. So we'll go 18 to 28, 220 yards, 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions. I think he gets a passing touchdown this week. I hope we see 2, but I'll say he gets 1 and maybe a rushing touchdown. Frankie from Flatbush says PFF grading is trash. Yeah, I don't really like them for their grades. I do enjoy some of their statistics that they track, though. Like for instance, snaps at each position, or there are some more advanced stats that they have on site that I like. Slugo says, "Hey Matteo, I'm not throwing in the towel on Zachary, but how long can we win without quarterback play?" Right now, it's working. The 2009 and 2010 Jets did a pretty good job at it. Look, I think you have to see what happens the rest of the year. I think something would have to go catastrophically wrong over the next 10 games for him not to be the starter next year. And there's still another 10 games. Has he been fantastic yet? No, he hasn't. He hasn't been fantastic. The last 2 weeks, I thought he struggled, but I really want to see what he does in these divisional games, and 2, just the rest of the way. It's been bad, but I don't want to just look at this with such a negative mindset right now with so much time left. They're playing really good football. I think the turnover numbers being down is a positive. Just got to get the completions up and the touchdown passes up. How involved do you think J-Rob is this week? I think maybe 8 carries, something like that. Wilson to Wilson for a long touchdown will be golden. Both Wilsons need to get back on track with Brees out. Yeah, they do. And look, I'm not giving up. I've seen not so many, but I've seen a chunk of people say that Zach can't find Garrett or Zach can't find Elijah, and that's it. They can't do it together. Like, this is a young offense, from the play caller to the quarterback to the weapons. It might take a little bit to click, but I am by no means out on Garrett Wilson, out on Elijah Moore, out on Zach Wilson after a little bit of struggles. I think it'll be okay. Any smaller moves you'd like us to make before the deadline? Give me another offensive lineman. McNally145 asked, did you see what Sims said about Jets fans and Zach Wilson? Yes, I did see that video. He was critical of the Jets fans for being hard on Zach. I don't think he's been great, obviously, the last couple of weeks, but patience. He has 17 starts under his belt. I think we need a little bit more than 17 starts to decide if he's the guy or not going forward. We got a couple of super chats here from Roadrunner0322. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate all love and support. It means the most. Matthew says Lawson is fourth at quarterback pressure rate, starting to get a decent return on him. Yeah, I think he's been good after like the first maybe 3 weeks of the year. So last 4 weeks or so, he's been really good. Whoa. Oh, okay. Says Jets going 13-4. I'm calling it now. We only lose to Bills and Minnesota. Hope you're right. Roadrunner's back says, what are your thoughts on Lakin? I'm disappointed, but he's picked it up. Yeah, he's been underwhelming so far. I thought he really struggled this past week. There was a play here. Let me pull it up because I'm sure you guys have seen it, but in case you haven't, I believe Michael Nania had it on Twitter. Come on. Nope. All right, I don't see it, but essentially it looked like his controller broke, which is obviously not ideal. You want to see your high-priced. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it. Watch him, left guard. He was way late. And look, and then Zach's running for his life and has to throw it away. And then that's oh my God, that's such an ugly Zach play. But look at the left guard. That's embarrassing. You have to be better than that. He still didn't move. That's one of the worst pass protection snaps that I've ever seen. That's wild. One more time. He's still in his stance. Oh, that is that is rough. AR Stab says Fields showed more upside yesterday than Wilson has all year. Crazy how you dedicated a whole video to how much he sucks, but you continue to give Zach passes. Jesus Christ. That was his first good game this year. Do I have to pull up the numbers for Fields? Just say you wanted Justin Fields pre-draft. It's fine. We'll pull up the numbers, man. Justin Fields was great yesterday. Do you need me to hear it? Do you need me to say it? 13-21, 61.9 completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 85.2 rating. He also rushed for a touchdown. Before that, though, against the Giants, struggled, missed some key throws. Houston, Green Bay, San Francisco. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, man. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. So let's kill that narrative, please, because that's not 100% true. We got another super chat. Teddy, what's up, man? Thank you so much. He says, I agree with Chris, man. So many Jet fans so quick to write off Zach. We are winning and using the run game more than passing game. We have to be in the lead and running out the clock. Yeah, that's part of the reason why they're running the ball so much is because that they're up in the second half of these games. If they're down, which they were against Pittsburgh, then they'll throw. And he looked good doing that. So I'm not done with our guy yet. Jason Kelsey has good things to say about Herbig. I like that. They played together a lot, obviously. So when is Fant and Mitchell coming back? Don't know yet. I would assume a couple more weeks. Nick H says, I haven't been paying much attention to McGovern. Is he good? I don't think he's amazing. I think he's fine. I don't look at him as a problem. Zach Wilson has been a great game manager since coming back, in my opinion. When they called his number in the fourth against the Pittsburgh, he answered the bell. It's on Zach this week. Let's get it. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he starts throwing it. They have him throw a little bit more, and I think he bounces back. TJ Decker asks, what is your gut feeling on Elijah Moore? Do you think he's here long term? I don't think they trade him. Does he get a second contract? That might be another topic of conversation. He has 2 more years after this. I hope things get ironed out over those 2 years, but I would like for him to be part of this team going forward. Brian says it's also possible that Zach doesn't come back either. That Fant doesn't come back either. He said before that he's not coming back until after the bye. We don't know how. We don't know if Mitchell is coming back at all. Mike Kaz says Elijah Moore won't be on the team next year. I don't know if I agree with that. Jets Chaos, what's up, man? Yeah, I'll show you some Laramie Tunsil contract. His cap hit next year is insane for the Texans, but if he's moved, it's a little bit cleaner. His cap number for the Texans would be 35 million. This gets cut off here, but it would be 16.7 million in dead cap, but they would save 18.5 million. V-Man sent a super chat in here. It says, stop with the anti-Zach nonsense. Alan, talk till you're through to click. I'll listen to quarterback guru Chris Sims over so-called internet experts. Yeah, I don't think it's time to move on from Zach Wilson yet. I think he needs to play better in the final 10 games, but I am very much so, as there's a car honking at somebody outside. That's kind of hysterical. I think he needs to play better down the stretch, and I think he will. I'm not out on him. R&R says, breaking news, Jets YouTubers are the best. R&R, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the support. You guys are the best. I love doing this every day. Feed the Fat Rabbit says, Tunsil seems unrealistic to me. I tend to agree with you. I don't think he's a likely option. I think Conklin's much more likely. I have time for a few more in here. I appreciate you hanging out with me. You guys have been great today. TJ Decker says, how do you think the O-line will fare against New England? Is this a game the Jets can really run away with? I hope they have last year's score on the bulletin board. They should. I think the Jets do win. Their defense has played well up until this past week, but they're a little bit banged up right now. I think the Jets are getting them at a good spot. Barney Miller says more fields like bootlegs for Zach on Sunday. I would like for them to roll them out a little bit. It's something that they haven't done a ton of, but I think it would be wise. Hit that like button. Jets slap the Pats 35-17 Sunday. Zach Wilson 2 touchdowns. Let's go. V-Man dropping a hint in here. The hint for my podcast call is Stephen King. Oh boy. So I'm assuming. Not a big Halloween guy, but it is the season. So Ted says, I think the Jets will run all over the Pats personally. 30-14 from your lips to God's ears, man. 30-14 victory to improve to 6-2 would have me feeling some type of way. Keep the victory train rolling. That's what I want to see. Mike, I agree with this guy, Mike. He's a smart man. Says Jets need to use their tight ends. I would like to get them back in here. Jets best says 34-24. Jets over Pats. The air conditioner is going to be shaking this Sunday. Yeah. MetLife, baby. Get it going. Pump them up. Let's go. Pump it up. Still like that saying, more. I'm with you. Jets Forever wants to feed Ruck and Yaboa. I don't think we'll see much of either of those guys. Starscream says, Pats fans thinking, hey, at least we got the Jets. They couldn't get open versus the Bears secondary. I don't know why they think it's going to get better against us. That Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are pretty good. Absolutely. So I think that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. We are back tomorrow for another episode at 2 p.m. If you missed it live and want to listen after the fact, also available in podcast form, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Subscribe, share with a friend. And last but not least, Just Jets comes out tomorrow. Appreciate all the love and support. Thanks so much. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.